This podcast may contain content for age 18 years and older.
Hello and welcome to the High Vibes podcast. We are going to be talking about mindfulness and being in the moment, being present, and we have a bunch of different topics lined up. Everyone's going to dive into a different aspect of being here and just self-reflection and meditation. So if you guys want to elaborate a little bit more on that.
All right. Well, I want to talk a bit about meditation today because that has helped me tremendously. Meditation is all about living in the moment because most people are way too much inside their mind. We are living in an age where there are a lot of information is coming in. Our minds are very active. In meditation, we learn to return to silence. We learn to return to inner peace. I was very anxious and very insecure even a couple of years ago. Meditation has basically cured most of that. And it's all because I learned to live in the moments, free from the dream of thoughts, free from the prison of my mind. So I definitely had some great benefit from it. And I could say I truly live in the moment now. Also, with that meditation and with living in the moments comes some key insights. For me, came some key insights to who I truly am and who I am not. Like most people identify with their minds. They think they are their minds. But with meditation and peace of mind comes the insights that you are so much more than your thoughts, that you are pure awareness, pure consciousness. And that has given me a lot of freedom. But I will dive more into that as we go on. How about anybody else proceeds?
Well, I've done meditation myself years ago, and I did really get quite good at it. I did slip a little bit over the last 10, 20 years or so, but I'm trying to get back into that. But I did also do a little bit of research on like different types of meditation and benefits. And one thing I did notice was something that about what archaeology, how far back archaeologists dated meditation to. And apparently they dated it as far back as 5000 BCE, which I think is before Christ era, I think that means. But also meditation, it said, has ties religiously to ancient Egypt and China, as well as Judaism, Hinduism, Jainism, and Buddhism, of course. The 9 popular types of meditation are mindfulness meditation, which I think you do a lot of, Mark. There's spiritual meditation, focused meditation, movement meditation, mantra meditation, transcendental meditation, progressive meditation, loving kindness meditation, and visualization meditation.
Yeah, I think Mark does a lot of mindfulness meditation, which I have put a focus on, but I do a lot of visualization meditation. When I'm meditating, I have a lot of, it feels more natural to me to do the visualization.
Yeah, I do conscious breathing meditation. It is the most common form of meditation. Also, if you would go to a meditation retreat, that is usually the type of meditation that they teach. I have been to a meditation retreat in 2019 in Thailand. That was a very interesting experience in the south of Thailand. It's called, I can't think of it now. I'll probably think of it later. But it was an awesome Buddhist retreat, a Buddhist temple, Swan Mok. It's called SUAN space MOKHH. It was an awesome place in the south of Thailand, like beautiful nature all over. You go there for 10 days. You only pay like 25 euros, dollars. That's about the same. And that's including 2 nice meals per day. It sounds like it's not a lot, but you can eat as much as you want. You get big portions. And it was amazing. It felt like coming home to the present moment, coming home to myself, and coming home to nature. Because it's a deep dive into yourself. If you are 10 days, you don't speak, you have no phone, you just meditate a lot every day, then you really see yourself, and you really find a lot of things in yourself that you are resisting, and you work through that. So definitely one thing I learned there that widened my practice was to help overcome the resistance to what is, to help overcome the resistance. For example, if I sit long in a meditational pose, then you get bodily discomforts, for example. Usually you would resist that. Over here, especially, I learned to further observe, but don't respond. So if you have a pain or a resistance to reality, and you simply observe it, and you just let it be, accept it, you don't judge it. And that is key, not judging your thoughts, or not judging these discomforts or these resistance. You just observe. Then after a while, it gets less and you get over it. So that is a key thing that meditation has taught me, to just let it be, observe, don't respond. That is basically what meditation is all about for me. Observing, not responding, and returning to our true essence, which is pure consciousness. And with that come insights after a while. If you practice it a while, then you realize more and more that who you truly are is this peace of mind, is this silence, this pure consciousness, and you give your true self some more space, because silence is not empty, it's full of answers. Silence is just space for our true selves, where our true selves resides. We are not our thoughts and feelings, we are the space in which it all arises. So that was a beautiful thing that meditation has taught me. And to just give a description of the type of meditation that I do, I just sit cross-legged. I have my hands like this, index fingers touching my thumbs. I have them on my knees. I just slowly breathe in through my nose and out through my mouth. And I just fully am aware. It's all about awareness. And I observe, but don't respond. So I observe everything around me, everything that I might sense. And if you are sitting in total silence with your eyes closed, the most common thing that you are going to sense is your breath. So I just focus on my breath. You can either follow it with your focus, or you can have a guarding point, like at the beginning of your nose, where your breath keeps coming in, and just keep the focus there. Or you could follow it with your focus, whatever works for you. And then whenever thoughts come up, there's an Eastern saying like, keep your front and back door open, but don't serve your thoughts tea. So paying them attention, and it's normal, it's only natural that you're going to do that. But then if you catch yourself doing it, it's all about recapturing your focus on the present moment. And that is like a mental rep. You got to see it like fitness, like mental fitness. Every time you recapture your moment, you are training your mind. Oh yeah, recapture my focus, just stay aware, not respond to the thoughts. Whatever you water grows. So don't water these thoughts, just water your pure awareness. And that's what it's all about for me, just pure awareness. So after a while of sitting in that state, any tensions in your body or anything that you endured, any negative feelings, they will come to the surface, because usually we tend to distract ourselves from our pain, and things build up throughout our day often. And it isn't until we sit still with ourselves that these things often come up. So then they can come up and you just sit through them. You just let it be. You don't judge it. You just let it be, and then it'll sink to the bottom. And then eventually you want to go to a more calm breath, because your breath and your mind is directly linked. So a calm breath is a calm mind. eventually you're gonna want to go to a cool, calm breath, which is like just a couple breaths per minute, very slowly inhaling through your nose and exhaling through your mouth. That is the easiest way to keep a calm mind. And that'll naturally go for the biggest part if you get calm in your mind. But you can also direct it a little. So to try to breathe a little slower, but very deep. That is basically my meditation practice. I've been doing it since 2016. That's when I started to really do it every day. And yeah, in like the first 2 years, I noticed the most of the benefits. I really made a lot of growth in that period. And it was not easy. It was not easy at all. Like a lot of hardship and a lot of stuff, anxiety. I was very anxious. A lot of anxiety would come up and I would have to sit through that through my meditations. But those were healing sessions. It are just feelings inside your body that want to be heard. And then I was finally hearing them, just sitting with them and letting them be, accepting them. So it was not comfortable, but it was necessary to heal. So yeah, that's what it's all about, basically. Awareness and just sitting still, being aware, being here now. That's my meditation process.
One thing I wanted to say was that something my samadhi teacher would always say that I really resonated with, and it was the breath is an invitation, not the destination, right?
Yeah.
A lot of what I meditate on is the stillness between everything, the stillness between our breaths, the stillness between the thoughts, the stillness between everything, right? And I feel like that's, I mean, it's personal, but I feel like that's the destination, right? Is the stillness and the pureness of just, like you said, the awareness of just observation, right?
I totally agree. You don't want to be too you don't want to be too grasped on that breath. You want to just totally be fully aware.
Yes.
So you get empty, right? So still waters reflect the clearest. You don't even want to grasp the concept of your breath with your mind. You just want to be empty and fully aware and just totally be aware of the stillness between it all, just like you're saying. Yeah.
Yes.
I really
loved the metaphor when you brought up about how, like, I forget exactly how you worded it. You worded about the dirt settle in the water, or how'd you word that?
With the water, what your water grows?
Yeah, right. You said something about like letting like the dirt in the water like settle or something. Right? Isn't you say something along those lines?
Oh, maybe in another day that I said like.
No, it was you just said it. You just said it. Maybe I misheard you, but either way, like. It made me think of like a lotus
But what you did say reminded me of something that I do often say, a metaphor for meditation, that you are like, a glass with dirty water, and that meditation, in meditation, the dirt slowly sinks to the bottom.
Settles to the bottom,
instead of staying at the bottom, it dissolves. So that
made me think of the lotus flower and how, like, even in murky, I can't remember exactly how it is right now, but I remember it was something along the lines of, even like the murkiest water, it like, I can't remember. Like, I hope do you know what I'm trying to get? It's like the murkiest water, like it'll wait till like it all just settles, and that's when like the lotus flower will bloom. I don't know if I'm misremembering or just pulling pieces of what.
In general,
you guys know better than I do.
In general, you got the saying like "no mud, no lotus," right? And that lotus,
you feel me, right?
That lotuses grow out of the muddy places. So that's saying that you got to know darkness before you can really reach the light. Roots reaching down in hell and branches reaching up to heaven. All right. So how about we continue with your meditation, Jess?
Okay. We're going to run through the chakras and their meaning, just a quick run through of each chakra, their colors, where they're located, and what they stand for. And then we're going to do a little quick chakra activating meditation. It'll be fun. So we're going to start at the base, which is your root chakra, which is red. It's located at the base of your spine near your tailbone. And this chakra represents your security and your power. It's gonna, it determines whether you can feel calm, how calm, safe, and like grounded you feel day to day. Then we move up a little bit between your belly button and your root chakra. I would say about 2 inches, they usually say below your belly button, is your sacral chakra. That color is orange, and this chakra represents your emotional state and your creativity. Moving on, I'm going nice and quick. So then above that, you have somewhere between above your navel and below your sternum, you have the yellow chakra, which is also known as the solar plexus chakra. Solar plexus chakra. And the solar plexus chakra is indicative of your willpower, your self-esteem, your confidence, how you feel about yourself. We're going to move up to the heart chakra. Now, for the heart chakra, I typically use the color green, but I've also heard that pink can be indicative of this chakra as well. So it could be green or pink.
I know it is green.
I know it is green too. I don't know. I had a conversation with somebody, and apparently more people also, I don't know if it's because it's for love, your heart chakra. So maybe pink is being kind of like, I don't know. It's green, but if you want it to be pink,
it might be like a higher heart chakra, right? Like, because it goes like even higher than like the main 7.
Maybe,
you know what I mean?
yeah. I'm not quite as educated on
might
that.
be
It's
like
green.
Green's like the more, I think the more common, like none of it.
So this one is located in the center of your chest. And it does, and like I just said, it can be pink or red, even if you want it to be, but most commonly it's green. And this is your heart chakra. It's the energetic area associated with like the way you love others, but also the way that you show love for yourself. And we're moving up to the throat chakra, which is blue. The throat chakra is located at the base of your throat. And this chakra is all about self-expression and clear communication. So when this chakra is open, you can communicate and express yourself in a more successful way. I don't know if successful is the word, but I'm just gonna flow with it. Then you're coming up to your third eye chakra. Your third eye chakra is indigo or purple. And this chakra is located right in the middle of your forehead between your eyebrows, right there. The third eye chakra is connected to your subconscious knowledge and your perception of things around you in the world. It can be associated with your connection with the spirit world or whatever, depending on what your beliefs are and how you connect with things outside of the physical. Then we're going to move up to your crown chakra. The crown chakra is violet or white. This chakra is typically about 2 inches above the top of your head, up here. The crown chakra is not, apparently it's like not a part of your body. It's typically, you want to imagine it, like I said, about 2 inches above your head. So it's not going to be something you visualize within your body like all the other chakras. You're going to envision this right above your head as like the opening to allow in positive energy, to allow life force energy to kind of run through you. This chakra is associated with your higher self and your connection. You're connecting to your soul, other souls, all of the above. Now that was just a quick little tidbit to give information. I'm going to go ahead and open up my little meditation.
Before we do that, I kind of want to add something real quick. I don't know all of them, but I do know that all like the chakras are they're connected to glands within our bodies. It's like a physical biological thing. Like I know the top ones, third eye and the crown, are connected to the pituitary and the pineal gland.
Yeah.
Yes.
Pituitary for the crown, pineal for the third eye.
Yes. So we do probably in the future, most likely, why not? We decide we should have an episode like that goes in, because there's chakras, there's the 7 main chakras, but there's like 170 something chakras that within our body, plus you have meridians that, you can go into depth.
We got like a whole episode, a whole week worth of episode.
We could definitely do an episode about chakras. It's a very broad topic and there is a lot to say about it for sure. And
we could really just go into like all of them. Like I said, there's 7 main chakras, but I think off the top of my, it's either 172 or 174, and both of those numbers could be wrong, but yeah. Okay, so we're going to start just a quick little meditation. It's going to be a visualization meditation. So I'm going to speak, like as I'm speaking, you guys are just going to envision what I'm telling you. I want you to visualize it. But to get started, we're just going to breathe. So Just breathe, close your eyes and breathe in through your nose. And hold it. And breathe out. And then do that again. Hold it. And breathe out. We're going to do that one more time. So breathe in. Hold it. And breathe out. So I'm going to keep my eyes open because I need to read what I have written down. But you guys, go ahead and close your eyes. Now I would like you to focus your attention on a point located just above the top of your head. Now, some of you in here may have heard this before because this is one I've written previously. So if you've listened to any of my hypnosis sessions, sometimes these are in there. Some of you haven't. So I want you to focus your attention on a point located just above the top of your head. And I want you to see a bright violet ball of light glowing from that area. Now I want you to see that light swirling in a clockwise direction, eliminating any unwanted negativity and allowing positivity to take its place. Notice the sensations you feel as your new senses spring to life and you start to experience your favorite sounds, smells, tastes, sights, and feelings. I want you to start feeling vibrant and energetic, happy and positive, and you are now filled with a sense of well-being all over. And as you become more relaxed with every breath, I would like you to center all of your attention to a point located on the middle of your forehead so that you may begin to see a bright indigo light glowing from that area. And now you may feel that point starting to tingle. Continue to see the indigo light getting brighter and feel it releasing any unwanted negativity and allowing positivity and gentle healing to enter that point, now making you feel calm and centered, happy and positive, with a balanced state of mind. And now I would like your attention to wander to the area at the front of your throat so that you may envision a beautiful blue light glowing from that area. See the light becoming brighter and notice all the sensations you are feeling, releasing any unwanted negativity, clearing any blockages you may have, and allowing positivity and good energy to enter. Now sending you a gentle and warm feeling to that area, making you feel light and free, happy and positive, and able to communicate expressively in a positive way. Now focus your attention on the area around your heart. As you begin to relax, your increasing state of awareness grows stronger. You imagine the color green or pink or red glowing around your heart as you start to open your heart chakra. And you'll start to experience a sense of love all around you, filling you with joy and happiness, making you feel warm inside, safe and secure. Now you're naturally releasing any unwanted pain or heartache as you start to find it easier to express love and kindness all around you. You're feeling deeply relaxed, and as you start to focus all of your attention to a point just below your heart, you see a bright yellow ball of light. It's swirling gently in a clockwise direction, and I want you to feel a release of tension coming from that area. Now I want you to imagine the feeling of peace and serenity. It's flowing through all of your body. Picture the wonderful feeling and sensations as they move through you and around you as you relax even further. You're becoming lighter, more relaxed and positive, and you feel more confident and have a strong feeling of self-worth and self-assurance. And now I would like you to move your attention to a spot just below the belly button. And it's a bright sphere of orange swirling in any direction that works for you. And you're going to feel a warm, glowing sensation that makes you feel good inside, a feeling of calm and tranquility. And you feel a strong sense of self-respect and a feeling of love for yourself. And now focus strongly on the ball as you send it thanks and say goodbye. And now center your attention on an area at the base of your spine. Imagine a large red circle covering that area. And you start to become and feel more confident in every aspect of your life. You feel courageous, spontaneous, as you experience a sense of happiness in everything you do. You see the beautiful, vibrant red circle helping you to feel more balanced and grounded, more able to take on life's challenges, as you are now feeling grateful for all of life's experiences. And now as you give thanks to your unconscious mind for this wonderful healing today, which has made you feel good in every possible way, you will wake up feeling positive, more confident and focused, and more grateful for life's experiences. That's it, we're done. Tripped over my words a little bit, but you know, this is real life, so
My third eye
we're
is
just gonna go
tingling.
with that.
Ever since she did that, like that we were going to the third eye to your forehead, it was tingling hard, and it still is.
So that's one that I already wrote previously, and I kind of tripped over. So because I wanted to make sure I was prepared for this, but I've done like just random ones on my own where I just envision, and this is for anybody that will work for, like you just envision your crown chakra opening, and then envision life force energy, light, it could be white, it could be gold, whatever color, just flowing through your body, and then stop on each chakra and swirl the light within it and have it turning. Phone, I need to put on do not disturb. But envision, like as you go through each chakra on your way down, envision the white light swirling through it, and allow it, like as the white light is swirling through it, envision that's cleansing your chakras, and just kind of go all the way down doing that. And even that, you'll feel super refreshed. And it's a lot easier than what I just did, because you just have to envision it. You don't have to think or do anything else. So
I kind of want to add on to that, because honestly, there's a visual meditation that I like kind of do, and when I'm really into it, I think about it, and it's similar to what you just said, except I like to focus on like that light coming from like the cosmos, kind of like I feel like it's like the upper higher chakras, but instead of getting complicated and like the intricacies of things that we don't really even need to logically like know, you know, like it's just one big ball of like the sun basically, and that energy just coming down and flowing through each chakra up to like your root, and then you extend your extend that energy like roots from your feet into the earth to anchor into the core of the earth, to really just be like grounded and secure. Like you can do that before you even like bring in like from like the higher, like I don't know what it is. You know what I'm trying to say, right?
yeah,
No,
absolutely.
Yeah,
I've done that.
I like to
before.
visualize that, and I like to visualize like a yin yang kind of like flowing as I'm in that state, and then it's like everything just kind of flow through, and then like close it and bring it back, and then come back to like center.
I like to do that.
Why sorry, didn't mean to cut you off.
No, go ahead.
I think that's why like set and setting are so important, like for going on a trip or meditating. Like I was gonna try to bring in music somehow, but I think it really helps me get into that sort of state, or like just being able to appreciate this stuff in your environment, because I think you can
Yeah.
meditate just about anywhere. Like some environments are a little more difficult, like if there's like a crying baby like nearby, or if you're in a really busy area. Like for me, I used to take the bus a lot, and it was really hard for me to um, be mindful on the bus because there was just so many people around. It was really hard for me to focus.
But even if you don't get
if
into that meditational state, that is totally fine. Like, but you just have to practice to let it be, right? So that's what it's all about too, to just accept all those sensations around you, that crying baby and that screaming and whatever happens, to just sit there and be at peace with yourself and allow everything around you to let it be exactly as it is.
We're always meditating.
When it comes to things like that, there's a fly in here. He needs to go. So I learned this just with the hypnosis course that I took too. In a situation like that, you can turn the outside noise that you're hearing into something that helps you go deeper into yourself just by choosing to, just by acknowledging, okay, any noise that I hear now, any sudden noise or any outside noise, I'm going to allow that to take me deeper, and then it will. So it's really our mind's like crazy powerful.
Doesn't matter what happens, it doesn't matter about our response to it, right? That's what gives it power or doesn't give it power. So you can be annoyed by these things and think like, damn, now I can't meditate, or this is annoying. Or you could, focus on letting it be exactly as it is and let it get you deeper.
I was just gonna say that I think that like music and like being in a really calm environment, like if you're in the forest, or like there was a Japanese garden in Seattle that I like going to, and like when I'm walking through that environment, it's very easy for me to like slip into a mindful state. But like I think often I end up relying on music, maybe a little too much, just to put myself into that zone, because it's really hard for me to, I think, filter out the rest of reality. But maybe that's the wrong goal. You're not trying to really filter it out, just let it sort of pass over.
You let it be, right? Like I feel like we're always meditating, right? Right now we're meditating on this conversation that we're having, right? We're just kind of flowing with it. And I feel like I agree, like art is beautiful, right? And gains that meditative like flow state, that state of play, I feel is really what like meditation that you kind of taps into.
Yeah, everything that you do mindful, you get more out of it. You experience it more fully. If you are not mindful, if you are in your mind, you just experience reality less, and still waters reflect the clearest. And that's the beautiful thing about meditation and mindfulness. You get to fully tune in to the now. That's what it's all about. So anything can be meditation in that sense, and that you are fully tuned into it. And indeed, you could get into that flow state if you are doing something you love, and you just totally immerse yourself into it. You totally become one with it. That's what it's all about.
Your environment,
get into that flow state.
Yeah, your environment, like with what you were saying, like for the longest time, I had a hard time meditating without music. I even still, sometimes I like to have some type of meditative music on, because it helps me go deeper. But I found, like, if I do breath work first, if I do a really good breath work session, and then I have these headphones that kind of like, what the headphones you wear to kind of like tune out the noise,
like noise canceling,
noise canceling, and I'll put those on, and then I just like, I'm there. I don't need music, I don't need anything, but it helps. Like, I'm just listening to what I can hear within my own body, and then I focus on like how my body feels, and that's it. That's all I need. But it's not always that easy.
Yeah, it's not always easy, but the easy way is indeed like having a nice walk in beautiful nature. Then you're into that zone. You got beautiful surroundings that you can tap into, and you're tuned into the now, just like that.
Just that, I think it's also a state that you can sort of transition into, and I think like meditation, as it's traditionally thought, is sort of done like in stillness, right? But I think it's really similar to this sort of flow state that you can find yourself in, where like you're really like in the moment, and you're focused like wholly on what you're doing, but not so much that you're like overthinking it. Like I think it's really similar to that. It's just like being in a flow state, perhaps just like while you're still, which I think is harder for me to do. Like I generally need to be moving to enter that state. So like, or doing something or listening to something. And so doing it just without anything that you're focused on, like in general, like just focusing on yourself, I think is just a little bit more difficult, or it takes more practice, at least for me, to do.
It is more difficult, but that is where the real mental fitness comes in, because that is how you train your brain the most. Because it is easy to do it with a distraction. It is not so easy if you have no distraction and you just sit with yourself. Then you just have to train your mind to become more calm. And you do always have something that you can focus on, namely your breath, or anything else in your surroundings. So you basically just become one with your senses. That's what it's all about. And instead of judging the things that you hear, you let it all be exactly as it is. Because usually if there's something happening around us, we think about it, or we are moved by it, or we our own thoughts. But it's all about just tuning into the now and just letting everything be as it is. And I see it as kind of being a guard of the present moments, as if you have a job to guard over the present moment. So you have to pay very close attention to everything around you, to everything that you sense, everything that you feel, everything that you hear, anything that you sense. But you do not, you just observe it all and keep it as clear as possible. So you gotta remain empty inside. Gotta remain clear, like clear waters reflect the clearest. You get the most out of your surroundings if you just.
I have like music that plays through my head a lot. Like I'll get earworms, and like I don't really have to be listening to music. I guess I can just listen to my thoughts, because it just spontaneously plays music whether I want it to or not.
Also, a misconception is what a lot of people think about meditation is that you have to do something, and that you have to, it's a certain practice, and you've got to reach a certain level, and you got to do this and that. But meditation is all about doing nothing. And that is easier said than done. But all you have to do is just be and let it all be. But our minds are programmed that they want to grab onto this and that, and they want to stay active. So in the meditation, we just calm our mind. We got rough waters, but then we just go to a calm water where it is still and where you got a totally clear reflection.
I think a really similar thing is happening when you dream also. Like I think they're able to, like, I'm not sure much of the terminology, but they're able to track like brain waves, and you enter like you enter like really similar states to dreaming when you're meditating, I think. I mean, maybe certain stages of sleep are similar to that. But that makes sense. Like you can enter a sort of restorative state, and I mean that's kind of what sleep is for, anyways. It's for like, oh, sorry, what was that?
You said delta waves.
Delta waves. Oh, thank you, darling. Yeah, delta waves. And I was thinking, like, even if you don't have music playing, like you always have, like you said, you're breathing, and your breathing is tied to your heart rate, and your heart rate is like a drum. It's like an instrument that's constantly playing. And I was just talking to a friend this morning, and I said, and I heard this before, but I was saying how like your mother's heartbeat is like the first song that you ever hear, and like that's it's something that you can kind of always go back to, because it's reflected like in yourself. You can always kind of hear your own heartbeat. If you're really quiet, you can hear it.
Oh, I want to segue into something because you brought that up. Because I remember I was doing this the other day, and I was so soothing. Feeling your heartbeat and meditating to the rhythm of your heartbeat, I felt was really soothing when I had that. I like headphones on.
I remember you saying that.
Like, yeah, it was like I took a moment to breathe and just meditate to that rhythm, and it was so, I don't know how to, it's like soothing. I don't know how else to really describe it, you know?
I used to do that all the time. I mean, like runners and people who work out do that just naturally in order to test their heart rate, or to feel like, to make sure that they're working themselves hard enough. You can just check your pulse. I used to check it under my neck, but that's actually a bad idea for running or something, because if you
you're cutting off the flow, but like breathing with it is what I was kind of getting at, right? Like you're feeling your heartbeat, and then you're just breathing with the flow, the ebb and flow of it, and you're just visualizing. Like, remember, I think I was telling you like before, like yesterday or whatever, I think it was like meditating on the visual of the insides of like your body, right? Your skeletal system. And as you're breathing, you're just visualizing your whole skeletal system, how your foundation right there, and the flow of like your veins and the flow of your like nervous system, and just really visualizing it as you're feeling it, as you're breathing, and becoming more and more present and feeling the presence of your entire being. You know what I mean? Like, I find visual meditation really beautiful in that way.
So what you were saying, Justin, about just listening to your heartbeat whenever you're trying to meditate. So I did that after you said it. I did have the headphones on, the noise canceling headphones, which makes it a lot easier to hear your heartbeat. And then I just kind of was breathing with it and listened, and my heartbeat became like the music that calmed me.
So what have you guys, anybody that is experienced with meditation, what have you learned from meditation? Or what is a thing that you have learned from meditation?
Well, for me, when I used to do meditation a lot and I was good at it, I used to find that I was just constantly calm, didn't really feel stress or anything. And when I was meditating, I could sink into it really easily. I used to start with music and even with like a candle lit just as a focal point. But then the more I did it, the more I could do it without a focal point or without music.
So you said with the candle, have any of you actually meditated just staring at the flame on a candle and then centering? Oh my God, I love that. I love it. I love the feeling that comes from being like in a darker room.
So me and Justin had like this weird series of conversations where like we would light the candle and then it would cause this sort of like metaphysical energy in the room to change.
Bro,
where,
you made that by your setting your intentions.
Well,
I was just chilling. I lit it because it smelled in the room every time.
He had a candle with 2 flames, and I was imagining each of the flames as like one of our like souls or one of our our passions. And so it would alternate from turning one off to turning the other on, or lighting them both, or extinguishing it randomly and seeing how it changed the atmosphere in the room. I felt like I was communicating with like fire demons or something.
I don't even know what to say about that. I really like doing candle meditations. I don't know. It's one of the most, for me, I find it soothing, but my brain doesn't go anywhere else with it. I'm just like, that's really calming.
I found it soothing because I've got something to focus my attention on. So it's just easier for me to not let my mind wander.
So anyone who is listening to this podcast, they can try different things, because it's okay to meditate if you need music. Like, it's fine. You're still getting yourself into a meditative state. I can't speak ever. Or if you just try mindfulness and you're just focused on your breath or a point. I like to, when I get into it, I kind of like to almost feel my entire body at once, just focus on my body, start with my arms and then be aware of like my legs and my toe, and everything kind of like tingles a little bit, but I'm fully aware of my body. I don't know. I like it. But
oh man, I think there's one thing that's really interesting about fire. I mean, that makes fire really interesting to me is that
my pyromaniac boyfriend, everybody.
It's randomness in the fire is what I'm looking at. Is like, because you can't predict the movement. Like, I think your brain is always looking for patterns of like how can you predict or what's it going to look like next. And the fire, it's dancing in a way that's like almost entirely unpredictable. So like it's feeding your brain with this sort of randomness that it's unable to basically conceive of by itself. Like, I think we're really bad at being intentionally random. Like, if you tell someone to think of a random number or a random phrase or word, it's probably going to be seeded by something in their subconscious, something that they experienced recently, right? Like we're really bad at being intentionally random. We have to like kind of look at something in the environment in order to find that, I think. And that's why I think fire is interesting to me, because it's a good example of that.
You can't get into a pattern or a control.
It reminds me of my own inner fire. Like, it sparks something. It gives you a special type of feeling. Like I have it with, I'm listening and I'm listening and looking at the waves of the ocean or feeling the wind. This is also
Yes.
meditation. If you are more mindful, then you are more in tune with your inner and outer world. Everything becomes more clearer to you. So also the elements, and you can connect on a deeper level with that. So to me, basically spirituality in general is all about raising your awareness, getting on a higher awareness. And meditation plays a big part of that, because what is keeping our awareness down is our mind, is the prison of our mind, the dream of our thoughts. So meditation can always keep you out of it. And just like Jess said, there are many ways that you can meditate.
That there's also reading and grounding and sitting, people watching can be meditation, a form of meditation as well.
Yeah.
Have to have an actual meditation session and sit down or anything. You can anytime practice conscious breathing. So if you are just aware of your breath or aware of your body or the present moment in whatever way you want to do it, you are basically meditating, and you are tapping into the now. And that is what it's all about being here now, tapping into the present moment. That is what it's all about. Just being aware, being present. So you can either do that by just looking at your surroundings and soaking it all up, or you could just focus on your breath, conscious breathing. And also, it's important to realize that's all a product of your mind. So if you go out of mind, you go out of that stress as well. That anxiety, that stress, those worries, worrying about the past, or being anxious about the future, or having regrets. This is all in your mind. And you can step out of that anytime. You know, the past is only imagination. The past, the future is only imagination. The past is only memories.
They both are imagination if you really think about it, right? Because they're both imagination if you really think about it, because you're creating it within the moment, right? The future is a projection forward. The past is a projection backward.
Yeah.
All there is now, and they're all created now.
They don't exist. And yes, it is important to reflect on the past and plan a little in the future, but most people are way too much caught up in it, and they lose their sense of presence because they are so caught up in worrying about the future and the past, which are just past present moments and future present moments. The only thing that is real is the present moment. It is the only thing that is here, that is real. That is right here, right now. And if you dwell in the present moment a lot, if you meditate a lot, usually you get this insight that is your home, that is where you belong. Also, psychedelics can help with that. Like I've talked about it in like both of the last, in one of the lives and in the last episode that I did for the first time psychedelic, like truffles, and I was alone in nature, and I just totally got one with everything, and I got tears of joy in my eye because I understood it all, and I understood how I'm connected to everything. And what it always teaches me is to be in the present moment. If I try to think, my logical brain doesn't even make sense. It just totally gets me to that zone, and you get so out of your mind, and you realize that is your true nature, to just be here now. And over there, that is not ego. So they also say a lot of spiritual teachers that if you want to become enlightened or awakened, you have to die twice. And the first death is basically the death of your ego. And the ego then being who you were programmed, thought to believe to be, which is your mind and the products of your mind and your experiences and what you like and what you dislike. But you are not that. You are the observer of that. So it is such an essential realization in meditation that you are going back to your true essence. That these thoughts, this mind that we want to calm, that is just a product of us. That is just a product of this vessel that we are using. Who we truly are is consciousness, is all. We are one with all. And I got a cool book that illustrates this whole insights and these concepts that you can gain from living in the present moments. It's by the spiritual teacher Ram Dass. And I want to share a couple of pages from that. For example, this is what the book looks like. All pages like this, with all text and illustrations like this. I will go through a couple of these pages. The Heart Cave. Except ye be. How do you pronounce Y-E?
Right?
Yeah?
It's
Yeah.
ye, like
Oh,
you.
yeah, you're right. It
Yeah.
would be like ye, referring to you.
Oh,
Like
ye.
Y-E, yeah,
right.
that's ye.
Ye.
Yeah.
Ye. Gotcha. Except ye be converted and become as little children, ye shall not enter the kingdom of heaven. Unless you start again, become that trusting, open, surrendered being, the energy can't come in. That is the kingdom of heaven. The energy, it is the same thing, cosmic consciousness, that open, surrendered being. That's that place where you go if you truly surrender and if you truly overcome, transcend your ego eventually, and if you realize who you truly are. This is all insight that can be gained from meditation. The psychedelics can help with that insight as well. And this book is filled with beautiful quotes on that. Let's see if I can find another interesting one. Yeah, when you have quieted your mind enough and transcended your ego enough, you can hear how it really is. So when you are with a candle flame, you are the candle flame. And when you are with another being's mind, you are the other being's mind. When there is a task to do, you are the task. The mindless quality of total involvement that comes only when the ego is quiet and there is no attachment. It is only when you reside quietly in your own hridayam, whatever that is, that you become he of total light, unbearable compassion, and infinite power. Yes, this is also an essential thing that they are mentioning, that you go through that you transcend your ego, and also the attachments that is an ego thing, attachments, right? And that is also what meditation, a very important insight that meditation can teach you, is that everything is impermanent. And just like the Buddhists say, that was also one of the things that were taught in the meditation retreat where I was. Every morning we got up at 4 and then we went to the main meditation hall, and there was a monk reading some Buddhist teachings. One of the teachings is also attachment creates suffering. And the way out of attachment is to surrender and to live in the now. Attachment, that is a thing that creates suffering. We attach to things. That is also regrets, wanting things to be different, letting our ego in the way, and letting our ego judge reality because we want it a certain way. But what meditation teaches eventually, living in the moment, is to live in harmony with reality, with this impermanent reality. So you got to break attachments. You got to sever these attachments and love reality for however it unfolds, and live in harmony with it. And yeah, the only thing that is keeping you from that is your mind. So meditation eventually can give insights like that as well, to break through attachments. I got a chat, by the way. This stands for severing attachments. I got this in Vietnam. And it's the weapon of Shiva, the trident, and it stands for breaking through attachments and breaking through the illusion of duality. So that is basically, once I've got that understanding, that became one of my core teachings, basically, and still is, of my spirituality. The butterfly. I am without form, without limit, beyond space, beyond time. I am in everything. Everything is me. I am the bliss of the universe. Everything am I. But you're still only seeing hints. You've got a way to go yet. Beyond even conceiving of a place beyond which you can go beyond. who's adventurous enough to want to go on that journey? Do you realize when you go on that journey, in order to get to that destination, you can never get to the destination in the process. You must die. Pretty fierce journey, pretty fierce requirements. We want volunteers. So there of that sense of self that has to die, that who you think you are has to die. And then, knowledge of self, what you learn from it, who you truly are, which is just pure consciousness, which is oneness. That is basically the main
energy.
I definitely recommend Be Here Now by Ram Dass. It's amazing. It really inspired me a lot. It really was a key for my path and my teachings.
I think with daily meditation, don't put too many expectations on yourself, especially if you haven't, been steady with meditation, or maybe you've never meditated a day in your life before. It's okay to sit down and take 5 minutes out of your day to do some type of focused meditation that works for you. And you don't need to be some meditation guru meditating for hours and hours a day to find benefits in it. A 5-minute meditation is going to help you feel connected and grounded. And that right there can set the entire tune for like your day, your week, your months, whatever.
Yeah. It's also essential to not judge yourself, and especially if you are one of those persons that's going to say like, I can't meditate, it's just not for me, my mind is too busy. Then you need it. It. Just more a reason that you have to meditate. And it is totally okay that you don't get into that state of tranquility right away. What we call the meditational state. What matters most is that you're taking that time and sitting there. And even if it's just 5 minutes, indeed, what is most important is quantity over quality in the beginning. Quality will follow. So you just have to make it routine. That is what's very important. I've noticed
basically quality, not quantity.
Yeah, I think you said it backwards, but everybody gets your point.
Yeah, so quantity comes first and then quality will follow. So first you have to just make it routine. And then eventually, if you do it enough, you will get better in it. You just have to put your trust in that.
Okay, and I see what you mean.
Yeah, it is important to just make it a commitment, because you can, it really builds up momentum. Right? You got to have consistency, and that consistency builds up momentum. But you can lose it very quickly as well. If you don't do it for a couple of days, you can be back further. So it is very important to just make it routine, make it part of your daily life. Do it every single day. Just as brushing your teeth or anything, just make it routine, and then you will see tremendous growth if you stick onto that. And even if it goes very slowly, like that all helps, and that's only because of that 5 minutes per day. So it is the best investment in myself that I've made, for sure. So it's definitely recommended for everyone. And it can cure depression. It can cure any low self-esteem or anxiety. For me, it cured my anxiety, and I was so anxious. I even had an inferiority complex, even around my friends. I felt of a lower social rank. I was filled with fear, filled with anxiety. I was carrying that around me in my body all day. And now I'm very outgoing. I can make friends very, very easily. I have no problem with social interactions. And that is basically, well, for a big part because of meditation, also because I saw the worth of consciously stepping out of my comfort zone and a lot of self-reflection. But for a very big part of it, it was meditation. It was learning to get out of my mind. And eventually, came the later came the realization, I am that silence, that living in the moment. I am that pure consciousness. And then that you know who you are, knowledge of self, that you know that you are not your mind, and that you know you are not your failures and your anxiety. Those are just clouds. You are the blue sky. And in meditation, you can always go to that blue sky again. No matter how cloudy your mind is, the blue sky is always in the back, and that is just a pure consciousness.
I like the blue sky part of that, because I like to think of like thoughts and things as clouds. I find that a very powerful metaphor that's very intuitive. That you're not the clouds, right? You can't chase the clouds, grab the clouds, they just drift by. You don't identify with the clouds, right? They just flow. But
Oh, right.
identifying, but you being the sky, I find that being a step even more deeper, right? Because there's the clouds flowing and they all flow, but you're the sky, and the sky is always
Hey,
there.
Justin, there's
That stillness.
remember Naruto? There's a character in Naruto who like he's like a strategy guy. Like
Shikamaru.
yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
exactly.
and one of his favorite pastimes is laying down and looking at the clouds in the sky. And I was thinking, like, when you're looking at faces or pictures in the clouds, like in a way you're not looking so much at the clouds as much as you're looking at like your own subconscious. Like you're examining your thoughts, and like what you see in the clouds is a reflection of what's inside like yourself, and so like you can use it as like a tool to sort of examine your thoughts. And I think that's maybe a good way of thinking about it.
Oh, that's how I see everything. Everything that I look at, I see myself in it. Once you realize oneness, you see yourself in everything, and also in people, in others, in the clouds, in fire. If I realize I am so much more than just this human called Mark, who I was believed to be, and you see yourself in nature and in everything, and that is really freeing realization, to know who you truly are, and that you are so much more than just that single human being loose from everything.
There's a lot of peace in that, and that alone makes you feel so much more connected to everything, all of the energy around you, all of the energy, everything. That sums it up.
Yeah, that consciousness was always there, and that consciousness doesn't change. The only thing that changes, and that constantly changes, that is your mind, and your human in your experience. But since you were born, there is just that clear blue sky, and that is always there. That is who you really are, just the observer of it all. The observer of it all doesn't get lived. It's how do you say it? It sheds its light on it's like the light projecting the movie. You are not the movie, you are the light projecting the movie. You are aware of the movie, and you are in control to control it and to change any part of it. You are not restricted, you are not limited to that version of yourself, or who you think you are, and what your weaknesses are and whatnot.
Yeah.
You are
Yeah, we can go very, very deep. We can go really, really deep on this topic.
It'll help everyone clarify what we were on about anyway. The first one is a sense of calm, peace, and balance. The second one aids emotional well-being. The third is aids overall health. Fourth is helps to relax. The fifth one is helps to cope with stress. 6 focuses attention onto calmer things. 7 is stay centered, and 8 is keep inner peace.
It improves memory as well, because you are more clear-minded, so you also are more in tune with your memory. And all the other ones that you named, you are way more resistant to stress. Things bounce off of you very quicker, where you usually something gets you down. If you have meditated, you are meditated, you are way more immune to that. Things don't really bother you as quickly anymore. So that is one of the beautiful things.
I feel like there's truth in that, but I meditate often, and there's still, like, you're still human, you're still going to have moments, you're still going to experience unpleasant emotions, and it's okay to acknowledge those. The goal isn't to never feel anything uncomfortable ever again, because it's not going to happen.
Just how you react to it.
Exactly how you react to it. That's actually, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, that's what it's all about. It's just how you react to it. And usually you would probably get all soaked by this bad feeling and react out of that anger or fear or whatever it is. And now you can just take it in calmly, stay calm in your minds, and take it as it is, feel it out, and then release it and make a decision
Yep.
after that. Clear-minded
I
decision,
feel
rooted by
I feel a better way to frame it is it's responding instead of reacting, right? Like the more
Yeah.
you meditate, the more grounded you are, the more you're able to take in and observe when a certain like state, a conscious, an emotional or conscious state is triggered.
And you're doing
And
it
that,
consciously, right? Yeah.
yeah, consciously, subconsciously, you're doing it like constantly all the time, right? Like it's about like like acknowledging when it's triggered, acknowledging when those thoughts and emotions come up, and when your ego
Right.
is or when the ego comes up, right? Like, and you're observant of it, and instead of automatically reacting, you're able to step away,
Right.
observe it, and then respond accordingly to where you want to do, where you want to go, and what the next moment you want to create from the moment you're in now, right? Because the moment just
Yeah.
flows.
I think that's one of the reasons why it's so therapeutic, right? Is because like if you have these triggers and if you're aware of them, what these triggers are, then you can sort of step in the middle of this automatic reaction that's happening. Like, oh, I'm triggered by this, and so I know when I'm triggered, I go to be alone, or I lash out,
Take a
or like
breath.
you can recognize that
Yeah,
automatic reaction.
feel
You
you.
can try to step in between with mindfulness in order to act with more intention.
Yes, yes, and that's key to take chair in the take a spot in the observer chair instead of being lived constantly and being totally in the negative experience. Try to look at it from above, from the observer. Then you create some space and you dissociate from it. You let go of it, and then you can from the observer chair you can react to it appropriately.
Yeah, I think it's really
Yeah.
important to observe what you're feeling, the good and the bad. When you're feeling shitty and you don't feel happy, you can't run from that. The more you try to run from it, the more it's going to keep creeping up, and the longer you're going to be in that headspace. So if you want to like come out on the other side and find your way back to being like a happier version of yourself, you need to sit with that emotion. You need to pay attention to it, allow yourself to feel it, and then by doing that, you're allowing it to pass. You're allowing it to go. It's being heard, it's being seen, and that's all at once.
Yeah. I'd like to share like a technique I've used. Like is basically I take like negative emotions or things that I want to examine inside myself, and I basically turn them into like a symbol or an archetype or a character that I can imagine and then superimpose on my reality. I basically just imagine a version of myself that I want to talk to, and then you can evolve that that you can work with that sentiment, or at least it's easier for me. And I just found myself doing it sort of like subconsciously. I don't know, like I'd be on a road trip and I'd imagine like a little character running around with me. But I don't know, you can sort of do it easily if you're prone to daydreaming. It's not hard to do.
Yeah, I've done this. I haven't done it recently, but I've done this before. Actually, when it was like about 23 or something, I was envisioning myself when I was 28. I'm 28 now, so that's funny.
Awesome.
And I was talking to myself then, how I envisioned myself. And yeah, that's a good way to do it, to already create this reality of yourself where you want to go out there, and to like, ask it for advice, or to look at it from that character, from that version of yourself, looking at yourself now, and then giving yourself advice from your future self to your current self. Yeah,
I guess that would be like
yeah.
one way to actually sit down and talk to your higher self in a way, right? I mean, it makes sense to me.
Or what you imagine them to be, right? Because like I think that's a process of also like growing internally, right? Because like as soon as you reach this higher self or this better version of yourself, you'll be in a position where you can imagine an even better version of yourself. So it's like there's no like end state to that endeavor, I think.
Envisioning yourself like where you want to be is a part of manifestation too. So that's it, all goes hand in hand.
You can get really deep in that with that the context of like meditating on your other versions of yourself, like parallel versions, like future versions of yourself or past selves, right? Like you can I don't know what I'm trying to get at. Like you can gain a lot of like
Oh,
healing
yeah.
and knowledge, like wisdom
Oh
through
God.
doing that, right?
It is actually
Like, it's deep.
meditations
It's
on
so deep.
YouTube where you can actually meet your
Crazy.
future self.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. We listened to a podcast. I don't know, not recently, but I shared this with Justin, and it's a really meaningful episode. It's of This American Life, where they're talking about it's I think the episode is called Infinitely Branching Paths, but it goes into this idea of like the multiverse, or this idea that you can imagine multiple versions of yourself. And it was talking about the story about this guy's father survived the Holocaust by basically living in a hole for like 8 months. And so his entire reality was this deep, dark hole. And he spent the time just imagining himself in different universes. And so he got to the point where he was just doing this like intuitively, imagining himself in a million different universes. And it got to the point where he was impulsively doing it with people, like, and like he'd imagine himself in different universes just to mess with people or to have fun. He just imagined being in another world. And like one time when he was much older, he had like throat cancer and he couldn't swallow anything. And he went to a cafe with his son, and he just grabbed his son's drink and he swallowed it as fast as he could. And he just pretended like everything was normal. And for a while, everyone was in that universe with him, where he just didn't have cancer because he wanted to live in that universe. And like he managed to convince everyone, like the waitress, everyone, for like a good 20 seconds, and then he just spat up all the coffee, and it was like gruesome and terrible. But like I think you can enter those other universes, or at least glimpse them to a certain extent. And because like what is the reality we experience other than our thoughts and our imagination about it? Like you can very easily enter another world. It's just you might have to come back to reality in like a violent way if it doesn't jive with everyone else's reality.
That's really interesting to think about. I do. I like to get lost in the idea of like infinite universes in an infinite space, and there's like endless possibilities. So you'll never get
Yeah.
bored.
That's what I love about writing and creating stories. Like there's so many different like worlds and universes in my mind that from my stories that just all interconnect and like it's wild. I love it. Like we're talking about meditation, like writing is music and stuff is just a beautiful like way to like meditate and get lost in like infinite like space within your own mind and the present moment, you know?
And really, there's like no limit, especially when it comes to writing. You can create
Mhm.
your own universe, your own world, your own like
A whole
race of-
multiverse.
your own type of like everything. Everything is just
Mhm.
whatever. If you can think it, you can create it. And I love that. It's my favorite part about writing.
If you can imagine it, if it can be, then it can be. That's how simple it is. If you can imagine it, then it is possible.
I've always thought that would be one of the most fun like superpowers to have, is just like being able to insert yourself into any story, like a fantasy or a book, like not even as a main character, just as like a random character or just anyone in the story. It would be just really cool to like experience like a different part of that world, like if you could just walk around in it and
No, that would be
see a
cool.
part
That
of
would
the
be
world
really
that
cool.
the author didn't even like. That's why I like fan fiction too, because you are kind of doing that.
Well, fan fiction, what? Fan fiction is you just taking a story that's already made and making your own story out of it. It's, I don't know,
Yeah.
the idea of jumping into it. So I guess in a way, because you're writing the story, but actually being able to like insert yourself physically into a story, any story you want, that would be a whole new way to experience that story. And
Like some VR thing.
Let's make it,
Yeah.
Justin. AI VR. Let's do it.
I kind of wanted to shed some more light on if you are living in the moment, if you meditate, how to go about pain, because I think that is an interesting thing for viewers and for ourselves to discuss as well. So like for me, if I have any hardship, any pain, I try to just trust the process and accept it. And it's not like you don't want to feel it or anything. You feel it, but you don't resist it. So you can at the same time suffer, but accept your suffering as well.
are you talking about like emotional pain?
Yeah, like emotional pain or physical pain. It could be too.
There was a story of this monk who he was like an activist. I don't even remember the whole exact situation story, but he lit himself on fire for a protest or something, and he just sat there and meditated while
Yeah,
lit on
it's a
fire,
little
and everyone was
freaky.
just tripping out.
I don't-
If you're a master at like meditation and focus of mind, you know, I can't say whether or not he felt the pain of it or not, but he stayed just still, even on fire until his last breath, right? Like
Yeah,
it's
I think he did feel
remarkable,
the
you
pain.
know,
Yeah,
like
Dissociate
yeah,
you never
yourself.
know. You never know. Maybe he could have like shut
yeah.
the receptors off mentally.
But most people, if they suffer, and they suffer
Mhm.
over the suffering. And you know, eventually you can learn
Suffer
with
twice.
mindfulness. We gotta suffer, but we must not suffer over the suffering, because then you have two problems, right? Like say I lost my key. Well, that is pretty shitty. I got a problem right there. But if I'm gonna stress about it, then I got two problems. I got the problem that I lost my key, and I got the problem that I'm killing my own inner
Right.
peace. I'm stressing about it. That second
That's
problem
true.
is not necessary. So we can also, even if we do feel bad, say if we are grieving, you can grieve and feel bad and suffer, but you can also grieve and resist it and keep saying, this is not fair. I hate this. I don't want it this way. You know, I don't want this to happen. And then you are resisting reality. Then you will probably go through that grieving process a lot longer. It's just an example.
Yeah.
We can.
You're resisting the present moment and the grief that you are feeling, right?
You can at the same time
Yeah.
have peace, make peace with reality, even though you are not feeling good. So having peace with reality doesn't mean always feeling good and always resisting, you know, letting negative situations bounce off you. No, it means fully suffering if needed, but not any unnecessary suffering, not suffering over the
Yeah.
suffering. So accept
Yeah,
your pain, not judge.
I agree with that.
Yeah, like meditation is all about
Sorry.
not judging. So usually we judge everything, and also we label everything. We see a tree and we think, oh, that's a tree. We see things and we have a name and we have a thing what it should be. We see
Yeah.
people of a race, you know, you got race.
Reductive, right?
People have prejudges, and they you know, they're in their mind. They label, they judge, and everything is in labels.
Right. I was thinking about pain. Like, what is the purpose of pain? And like, I think pain points to a problem, like a problem that you're like healing from or trying to change, like some emotional turmoil in your mind or something. Like, I don't know. Like my ex-girlfriend, she came up with a method that I think is actually pretty interesting. It's called dancing with pain, and it was she designed it specifically for people who were suffering from chronic pain, and so that's pain without like a easily like identifiable like pain that you can't really cure yourself from. It's like you have to kind of live with it for the rest of your life. But I think there's
fibromyalgia.
yeah, there's a few conditions that cause this, and a few of them where they don't even know what's causing it. They're just people who profess, they say they're in a ton of pain and nothing really fixes. There's techniques, I think, where like you can learn to move. Like there's usually certain things you do that, or things that are happening to you or in your environment that are causing that pain or exacerbating it. And if you learn to move or navigate your environment in a way that doesn't exacerbate that pain, you can sort of dance with that pain. And as you dance with that pain, as you learn to sort of move with the pain, you learn how to move in a way where it just doesn't hurt as much. And I've gotten to the point where like I have a broken knee and I've been walking around a lot, and I've gotten to the point where like I can move a certain way where it just doesn't hurt at all. But then other times, like, and it's strange, where I'm not doing anything else at night, where I don't have anything else to focus on. There's nothing to take my mind off of the pain. I'm just laying here trying to meditate or something. That pain will flare up and it'll be like the only thing I can think about. So it's really interesting how like it's just sort of constant like nagging reminder in the back of your mind, like, oh, there's this part of me that needs to be healed. That's what I think the purpose of pain is. And like if you hyper fixate on it, or if you focus on it, or if you try to punish yourself for even feeling pain in the first place, then it just makes the issue worse. And you're not doing what your body is asking of you, which is like, you know, if something hurts, it's like, you know, don't move like that, or don't touch that, or like, you know, be careful, it's healing. I think that's what your body's trying to tell you.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, we can at the same time, you know, be conscious of that pain and, you know, what it is trying to heal. But at the same time, accept it. Even though that is shitty, we have to sit through it. But at the same time, we can accept it. And I also believe like pain in general is our greatest teacher. For example, anything that annoys you is teaching you patience. Anyone who abandons you is teaching you how to stand up on your own 2 feet. Anything that angers you is teaching you forgiveness and compassion. Anything that has power over you for teaching how to take back your power. Anything you hate is teaching you unconditional love. Anything you fear is teaching you courage and how to overcome your fear. Anything you can't control is teaching you how to let go.
I dig it. Sean, you have a little bit more on your notes. Do you want to try to wrap things up a little bit?
I know when I used to meditate, I did find it a good, useful way to get in touch with my guardian angels, my spirit guides, and my spirit animals as well. It was how I initially began to connect with them. And I mean, I don't need to meditate to connect with them now, but it was what initially, like, it was like an introduction, more or less, into getting to know them. And I found that helped. If anyone wanted to learn how to do that.
Oh, totally. I mean, I wanted to say like the concept of like spirit animals, or like in Harry Potter, you're like your Patronus. I think that's like a really interesting idea to me, because like I think in a real way you can sort of channel like aspects of these animals or spirits or like entities that you want to embody in yourself. Like if you're afraid and you need courage, you can imagine a lion. If you want to get away, you can imagine a bird and you can fly away. Like you can imagine aspects of these animals, and then you can try to embody aspects of them.
Yeah.
Like I think there's a lot of cool like metaphor in like Asian cultures around like martial arts and different like, styles and like ways of moving like these animals,
like dragons and stuff like that.
To use metaphors and to visualize certain animals that can be more powerful than to actually trying to get out of it, because you have a symbol and that can be powerful, that can be easy for your brain to process.
I feel that's really resonant with what we talked about on the live last Monday with
what he was talking about.
He was channeling all that. Like it was beautiful.
Yeah,
I feel it's very similar to the concept of kami in like Shintoism and Buddhism and stuff like that in Japanese culture, of just like everything has a spirit, right? Everything has like a soul, essentially.
Yeah, and they guard nature too. Like they'll be like a shrine for a certain park or forest, and there'll be like a spirit that's supposedly like watching over that area. And I think that's really cool. And it promotes a sort of like ideology of like deep respect for nature, right? Because anyone that's like littering or messing with the sort of like natural beauty of the area ends up like, they're not just messing with the natural beauty, they're like offending this spirit that's guarding the area. So like a lot of people take it seriously, even if they don't like practice it religiously. I think it's like a cultural thing. It's like
we should probably wrap it up soon. So Sean, you still had something, right?
My thoughts are like, there's no one right way to meditate. Everyone has their own different way, and it's basically, we shouldn't be forcing our own specific way of meditating on other people, because we wouldn't want it done to us.
Right, just be. That's all.
I was just going to say, if people know, like, if you're going to jump into a meditation and you find something that works for you and helps you find your center and helps you connect, it doesn't matter if it's somebody else's ideal way to get into their meditative state. Do it. If that's what's working for you and it's getting you into the headspace that you need to be in, do it.
It's always a gateway to the present moment. And a calm breath is a calm mind. So if you're stressed out, you could just breathe deeply and you'll notice how quickly you unstress. Or you could even hold your breath if you are very busy in your mind, like your mind is rambling and you need to calm down. If you hold your breath, your mind will stop as well. So
the monkey mind.
The monkey mind.
I wanted to bring that up earlier. That's the chattering in like your skull, right? Your ego just chatter.
You are in control. Just know your tools. The breath is a tool for that. Yeah.
I wanted to say one last thing to kind of close things out, though, because I remember you mentioned earlier about something about we die twice, right? There's our physical death and there's the death of the ego.
Yeah.
I wanted to kind of add to that we die every day, like infinitely, like thousands of times every day. Each breath is a death and rebirth, right?
Oh yeah, that's
And
also a perspective indeed.
yes,
That's true, because we are
yes,
constantly evolving. So that older version of ourselves has died.
yes, and that new version is born, and then as time goes on, that version of
We
ourselves
are
dies,
constantly
you know,
being born,
over and over and over and over,
you know,
right?
there comes a point where you realize your true self. You realize that you are
Mhm.
not go in your mind and your thoughts. That is
Mhm.
one death, but also we are constantly dying and we are constantly being reborn because we are.
You know,
Yeah.
our cells
This is
in our
beautiful.
body all constantly dying are renewed all the
Yeah,
time.
even on a cellular level. I wanted to bring it up to close things out though, because next week my Samadhi teacher is going to come on as like a guest speaker, and that is, I feel, a very good way to like explain like Samadhi, right? Is just the death and rebirth of ourselves constantly throughout, like you can go deep with it, but you know, just within just each moment, right? Like I said, it's death and then rebirth, and that's, I feel that's a very good way to look at Samadhi without going too in depth with anything. Yeah, next week we'll dive more into like presence and like meditation and stuff like that with the concept of Samadhi. Next week we'll dive more into like
It connects
presence.
beautifully to
fun.
this episode, and of course, this episode connects to the last episode of Levels of Consciousness. And next week we'll go on talking about Samadhi and the principles of oneness. So these are all insights you can gain from meditation. Alrighty, so I guess that wraps it up for this episode.
See you guys. Bye.